The next fight that we have up for you guys is Cody Garbrandt versus Pedro Munhoz. We're going to review that real quick. This fight ended the way that Cody Garbrandt's fights always seem to
Remind
end.
me. Oh, it ended at the end of the first round.
It was a barn burning.
Yeah. No, I was just trying to remember if it was the second round or it was the end of the first round.
End of the first.
It was crazy, man.
Standing with 45 seconds left in the round, they were standing and throwing bombs back and forth. Cody got caught with 3 straight overhand rights and just got knocked out. The first one dazed him. The second one staggered him and he just froze. And the third one just knocked him clean out. And there's something I felt. This is the thing. These are 2 guys that are consenting to take their shirts off, get into a cage, and scrap, and know that they're trying to punch through an object that's set in front of them. Mm-hmm. So I don't feel bad for him in that sense. But I do feel bad for Cody Garbrandt in the sense of he's showing how much him winning that championship, the way that he looked against Dominic Cruz, the emotionality that he evoked out of Dominic Cruz was the reason Dominic lost.
I believe.
Well, the last 3 fights in a row, he's the one who's succumbed to his own emotional ploys. You know, Cody Garbrandt is way too technically sound to be a guy in there brawling, which is what he's doing, a bar fight style brawl. You're faster, you got the speed advantage, technique, all these things. You should be forcing Pedro Munhoz to be using his wrestling on you and doing something like that. Pedro Munhoz was willing to stand, and you just had 56 strikes for Pedro and to 42 of Cody Garbrandt. The output was there, but you need to be smart. Those weren't 42 intelligent total strikes thrown.
Not at all. What I think is that just Cody, I mean, I believe, honestly, that his pedigree is in boxing as well. Because I think that's how he started with boxing. He's got a lot of experience. I believe he's got golden gloves and all that
100%.
stuff. So if he was a little more calculated, if he was a little more patient, just jab, move. We know you can move, Cody. We've seen you. You have great movement.
The flow, the movement, the natural use of his technique in that dominant fight to win the fight.
I get it. You're a fighter. You bite down on your mouthpiece and you throw punches.
No one's questioning your toughness, buddy.
By utilizing that style, you're robbing yourself of a lot of your other skills.
100%.
And I mean, you're hard to take down. You're not going to be really taken down by most people. Just pick your punches, move around. You're going to be so much more successful. And one more thing, change camps.
100%. You need a change of. I was going to say the same thing. He needs a change of not just scenery, but a change of coaching. Someone guiding him down a different path to try to get him more discipline. His biggest problem is his own mindset, and that's his discipline because he falls back on emotionality and pride in the middle of the fights. Kind of like when Cyborg got hurt, and when she was fighting Amanda Nunes, and she just started brawling because she got emotional and upset, and she wasn't looking like her dominant self usually. There's a time and a place for everything, my mother always used to say. Mm-hmm. And this is exactly one of those things. You need to understand when to engage, when to stand in that pocket, when to risk your chin. It's fine if you think you have a chin. First of all, you've proven that you don't have much of a chin if you get struck hard enough. Then what it does is he gets struck hard. He doesn't get knocked out in one punch. Yeah. But what happens is something else clicks. It triggers. Like he gets angry and he starts fighting angry. He starts fighting emotional. Cowboy Cerrone, who we're going to be talking about later on, Cowboy Cerrone always used to cite how whenever he fought pissed off, he got knocked out and got beat up.
Yep.
You know, and it wasn't a good choice of a course of action. You need to fight smart. You're going in there against another trained individual. You can't fight angry. You got to have clarity. And I feel like he needs to see a sports psychologist, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And every fighter that we've seen have that style with like Justin Gaethje or whoever it might be, those brawlers, they are just not successful. It's not a long-term strategy. That's your job, that's your career, that's your health, that's your family. Do yourself a service and just be smart and fight smart. I don't care that Dana White says, fight of the night. And yes, I love it. I love it. It's beautiful when they open up like that. But at the same time, you gotta treat them like human beings as well and factor in all those things that they need to be okay health-wise. And I mean, also, he's going to just stop earning the same amount of money because you just lost.
You're costing yourself money.
Yeah. So
he even got that immediate rematch against TJ Dillashaw. Not many guys in this current UFC climate get that immediate rematch.
Because he was so dominant against Dominic.
And they just wanted to see if he could continue it. And he got to fight TJ twice, got emotional both times. When I saw that, I actually questioned to myself, is this guy ever going to be a champion again? And I don't think so.
And I know he has 1 or 2 kids now, 1, 2, whatever. He just had a kid, and
you gotta think about why you're fighting. That kid that was suffering from terminal illness.
Oh yes, that
was his why.
Yes.
Every fighter's got to have their own why.
And I feel like he lost that a little bit.
He did. Once he won the championship, he's like, I never really feel like he was doing this for himself.
Yeah.
I don't think he was ever doing this for him. For his own, I'm not saying he doesn't like to fight, but what I'm saying is there's different paths to becoming a fighter. And there's guys who come down the GSP path of discipline and hard-nosed respect and not talking a lot of shit and being that person who's going to sit there and be like, you know what? No. Like, I'm going to be a guy who saves it for in-the-ring practitionership, not going to let a guy talk myself off my game plan. Then you got the other guys who get in there emotional because fighting is how they grew up. He comes from a mean street background. If you read his book, you'll learn a lot about his upbringing and his story, and it makes a lot of sense as to why he fights the way he fights, with a lot of pride. Fighting really, getting into UFC, mixed martial arts, really did save his life in a way because he was not going down a great path. He was in a bar fight before. I'm pretty sure he got stabbed at something. It's just not a good. It's not a good. That explains why pride gets involved in the ring. But having that sports psychologist, changing camps, changing the surroundings of the people that might be yes men around you might be a great opportunity for him to reshape and reignite his career.
Yeah, I hate to sound corny, but he's got to find his why. And I think he's lost that, like we just mentioned. And I think if he finds that motivation, that hunger again, he definitely has a lot more potential to come back and challenge for the title.
100%.